Hi, thanks for joining me with another episode of Still Growing. So today we're talking consistency. Being consistent is one of the most important factors, whether you're trying to develop something personal in your life or whether you're trying to build a business. Consistency is number one. Now, being consistent is very difficult, but it's that mixing sauce that makes everything work. So let's jump into it and talk about how to be consistent. In order to achieve consistency in your life, you have to make it personal. You have to tie being consistent to your value of yourself. So what I mean by that is, if you do not stick to your goal, if you're not consistent by every single day doing what you determine that you need to do in order to achieve that goal which you're trying to achieve, then you make it personal in the sense that I have let myself down. When you tie it together and when you stick to your goal, then it makes you feel wonderful and it gives you that little boost of pride within yourself that makes you the next day be consistent again. Another thing that can help you to be consistent is to also love whatever it is that you're doing. So you have to look at the end goal of what you're trying to achieve and see the benefit at the end of the road. And so when you can see the benefit, so if you're trying to, let's say, lose weight, for instance, and you can see yourself at the end goal, whether it's 10 pounds or 100 pounds later, you can see how wonderful you look. You can envision that. You've got a picture of that. Then you're more inclined to be consistent. And basically, just to break it down for you, being consistent just means that every single day you're going to repeat what you did before. It's hard sometimes to every day. For instance, if you say that I will wake up at 6 o'clock every single day to work on my business. One morning, you might wake up and say, oh, you know what? I feel a little bit tired, or, I'm not feeling in the best of mood. It's so easy to give into that. But if you tie it to this is who I am, you think of the end result as who you are. So I am 100 pounds lighter. And then every day you keep, just by saying that you are that result, you become that result. Not in the sense that it magically happens, but in the sense that if you think that's who you are, you begin to constantly work towards achieving that. So on those days when you want to cheat, you stick to your schedule because you are not a cheater. If you want to be consistent, you have to set a bar for yourself. I will make $10,000 more this same time next year in my business. So that is what I'm working towards. And because that's what I'm working towards, I have to do all the little things to get there. Set a goal and always stick to it. No matter what happens, stick to your goal. Your desire every single day, who you are as a person every single day, is sticking to that goal. However, what's also extremely important in being consistent is also remembering that if things happen, because crap happens all the time. So if something happens, it doesn't derail you. It doesn't throw you off. The next day, you just go back to your schedule. I think the main problem with being consistent for most people is that they think that when they screw up, when they've made a mistake, when they've gotten off that schedule, that is the end of the world. And it's not the end of the world. Once you've gotten off your schedule, just get right back on it again. Because consistency is not getting to an end result fast. It's actually just getting to that end result. Whether you're number 100 in the race or whether you're number 50 in the race, consistency has to do with the fact that you finish the race. So it's not about who does it first or how fast you finish. It's about sticking to something. That's what the main thing about consistency is, sticking to what your goal is. I know that sometimes when you're starting something new or when you have an vision of something that you would like to achieve, it's hard sometimes to see the end result. And to honestly tell you the truth, you don't always have to believe. You don't always have to believe when you start something that it's going to turn out as great as you would like it to turn out. Because sometimes your belief is tied in your seeing. And not everyone can envision an end result. It's like with me sometimes in regards to seeing a project. Sometimes it's hard for me to see the layout. It's like reading the blueprint of a project. When you see where the bathroom goes or where the kitchen goes or where the stairs at the back, you may not be able to read that on paper and understand exactly how that looks. That's why it's a good idea to get an actual picture of what you're trying to achieve. Because although you're trying to achieve a goal and you're trying to be consistent in doing it, sometimes we get lost because we're unable to see the vision. We're unable to see the end result. So when you have an actual picture of where you would like to go, it helps you to be consistent because you can see what you're working towards. If you're trying to build a business in a particular field, get a picture of somebody else's business, of what you would like yours to look like. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to turn out exactly, but what it does is it connects you from what you want to achieve to the vision. And in between, what is important is the consistent movement towards that. And sometimes it's hard to be consistent, to consistently move towards a goal if you cannot clearly see what you're trying to achieve, what the finished product looks like. Think of yourself as a professional. In this unusual time that we're living, where due to COVID, the majority of people are working from home. Because you're working from home and not waking up every single day and putting on your face and getting ready to go out to work. So it's important for you to think of yourself as a professional. And as a professional, you have to every day do what is necessary for your business. I think a lot of times when we're trying to develop businesses, we think of ourselves as a newbie, or you think of yourself as just trying something. However, if you think of yourself as a professional, as someone who has been doing this for a while, as someone who knows what they're doing, although you may not know everything off the bat, then you're more likely to consistently stick with what you're doing because you're not trying it. You're actually a professional who has achieved some type of positive outcome already from whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. So if you think of yourself in the framework of a professional individual, then you're more likely to stick to what you're trying to achieve. Being consistent is important for you to also be bold, be unstoppable, and be confident in whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. Because whatever it is that you're trying to achieve is just as valid as any other wealthy professional. It's just as valid as Bill Gates, who's been working for 30 plus years in his field, who's extremely qualified in the tech industry. You yourself is just as valid. So it's important for you to shine through, to never give up, and to be extremely confident. Work harder than anyone else. If you're trying to achieve something, do not play around and work sometime and other times do not show up. Work harder than you've ever worked towards whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. A lot of times we think that we can show up and be half of ourselves. We can show up and be less than who we are. It's important to put your best work forward every single time you're trying to achieve something. When you're putting your best work forward, you can feel it. You can feel it in your bones. You can feel it in your spirit. And when you can feel it, it helps you to be consistent. Because when you can feel it, there is a sense of motivation that develops within you in order that the next day you want to again repeat that behavior so that you can receive that wonderful feeling. And there you go with your consistency again. I hope these tips are helpful to you if you find it difficult in being consistent. Until next time, peace and love.